How's it going, airplane collectors? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Ray. Today's video is a model review of the Gemini 200 United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. This model was released in April of 2022. This review will consist of a short discussion of the box and then a discussion and analysis of the model's features. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you guys what I think of the model and whether or not I recommend it to other collectors. So sit back, relax, and let's get this started. Alright, so the box is nothing special. It's your standard Gemini 200 box. It's 23 centimeters long, 23 centimeters tall, and 7.5 centimeters wide, so it's moderately sized. I'll show you guys around the box now. So here's the front side, bottom side, right side, top, left side. Here's the back side. Back here you can see some of the Gemini Jet's false guarantees, as well as some of their social medias. When you open up the box, you get the model, the display stand, and two configuration options for the landing gear, one of which is the extended position, the other is the retracted position. This is the included display stand, and personally, I'm really not a fan of this stand. It's very flimsy, and it's overall very small for the model. I'll show you guys what it looks like fitted to the model. The fit is great, but honestly, I'd advise buying a different display stand with this model because this display stand is also pretty weak, so your model might fall over. Here's the model itself. Let's talk about some specifications first. The model is 19.5 centimeters long, the wingspan is 18 centimeters, and it is 6.2 centimeters tall, so it's accurate to 1 to 200 scale and moderately sized. I'll give you guys a quick 360 of the model so you guys can get a look at the features and all that good stuff. And apologies in advance if my fingers get in the way of anything you're trying to look at. We'll start up the review at the front of the aircraft. No complaints at all. The nose shape is fabulous and there's a lot of printed detail. As we move down the fuselage, you can see more of the printed details. Everything looks really solid and I have no complaints at all. The vertical stabilizer also looks really good. The color fade from the light blue to the very dark blue looks good. The shape is fine and there's no paint defects. The same can be said about the other side of the aircraft. Vertical stabilizer looks fine and the fuselage looks good, so I won't provide any commentary. Moving on to the wings. The wings on this model are fantastic. Lots of printed and molded detail. Everything looks good, no defects, and no quality control issues. Here's what the bottom of the wing looks like. Also a lot of molded detail, but not as much printed detail. The scimitar wingtips on this model also look great. The edges are nice and defined, printing is good, and the paint is also very nice. Let's move to the rear of the aircraft for a little bit. The horizontal stabilizers look good, the APU also looks fine. However, instead of there being a hole for the APU exhaust, it's just a flat surface painted black, so if you're picky about the APU, take that into account. But aside from that, back here everything looks pretty detailed. Here's the underside. Moving on to the engines. The engines on this model look fantastic. Here you can see everything looks good. The exhaust nozzles look amazing. This pointed portion here looks nice. Here's what the fan blades look like. Very realistic, and yes, they do actually spin, and they spin freely too. On the inside you can see there is a lot of printed detail as well. Moving on to external features. Here you can see the external features on the top of the airplane. We have a light and two antennas right here and a Wi-Fi dome. I have no complaints about all of these. The antenna here looks good. However, this one appears to be bent a little too far upwards, but it still fit pretty solid, so there's really not much I can do in terms of fixing the shape of it, or not the shape, but the way in which it's attached to the airplane. At the bottom of the aircraft, we have significantly more antennas. There are 3 large ones, which can be seen here, here, and here. I have no complaints about the details on the large ones. They are highly detailed with the red and white stripes on them. However, these two in the rear are slightly bent and angled in incorrect ways, but they are fitted tightly to the model, so they were just fit on the model improperly. Here's a better angle of the antennas. You can see that this one is bent a little bit towards the right of your screen, and this one is angled towards the left of the screen. So I'm not sure if this one's supposed to be mounted like this, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Now for the two small antennas on the bottom of the aircraft, there's one right here on the right side of your screen, and there's another one right here. They're very small, highly detailed. I'm very surprised that they put the little red paint splotches on there. Looks very realistic overall. Let's move on to the landing gear. The landing gear on this model have been an area of hot discussion recently in the model collecting community. The nose gear on this model looks really good. The wheel rolls smoothly and it's attached via a magnetic system, so it is very easy to remove and replace. This is the retracted position cover. You can see that the cover fits on relatively nicely. It is kind of stuck out a little bit, and there's also a hole for, I'm going to guess, a little pin so it can be removed easily. However, the model does not include any sort of gear cover removal pins, so make sure you have something to help you with the removal process. In case I didn't mention it earlier, the nose gear cover is magnetically attached, so it's also fairly easy to attach and remove from the model. The main landing gear on this model are also attached via a magnetic system. They fit on very nicely, however, this is one of the major issues with this model. So here the gears are in their normal position, but when I set it on the ground, you can see that the main landing gear bend backwards under the weight of the model. So the magnetic attachment isn't really the best, it's fairly weak. And a different collector has actually come up with a solution to this problem by attaching small foam support cushions to negate the force being put on the gear and prevent them from bending backwards. Here's a look at one of the main landing gear when it's detached from the airplane. The retracted position covers are also very nicely made. They aren't magnetically attached, but they still retain a good fit, and here's the cover for the right side. I'll just put it in now. These also don't have any holes for a key or a pin to be placed into them so you can remove them. So removing these is rather difficult. However, I found a way to do it by just putting pressure on the outside of the cover, and it should pop off. There we go. Just be careful because they do go flying. Now for the wing flex and gear balance. The wing flex on this model is perfect. There's no issues with the wing flex, but you can see the cockpit window printing is a little bit tilted towards the left side of your screen or the right side of the aircraft. So that's also an issue with this model. Gear balance looks fine, even though the main landing gears kind of do make the model fall a little bit lower than it should. Everything still looks fine. And that concludes the review. Now time for my personal opinion and recommendation. Honestly, this model is fantastic, especially considering Gemini jets, the quality presented to us by Gemini jets in recent years. This model has little to no issues, and the ones it does have are pretty much ignorable, or I guess slightly avoidable in terms of the landing gear, because you can modify it to not have that issue. So I highly recommend this model to any other collector who's looking for it. I really like this model personally, and I have to say it's one of the best in my 1 to 200 scale collection. So that concludes the review. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those down below in the comment section. And that's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think down below, and stay tuned for more airplane and siren content. See you guys in my next video.